Now, coming to you live from atop the Lavender Town Radio Tower, it's the one, the only, PUCL Podcast.
It's PUCL! PUCL! It's PUCL! PUCL! Pokemon Underground Champions League, oh yeah! PUCL! PUCL.
And welcome to the 416th episode of the PUCL Podcast. I am your host, Trainer Thatch, and today I've got your two wonderful co-hosts who have made their way from the land of TCG. I've got the sassy as always, Sublimemanic.
Hello. I thought it was going to be Sleepy Manic, but I'm awake.
I guess that's true. It is like you're both West Coast and I'm East Coast.
West Coast.
Yeah. I mean, I think West Coast is fun. I think so. And then also, we have, like I say always, the person that I took a weaving class to learn how to build Basket.
What's up, PUCL peeps?
There's just too many puns there. But welcome to PUCL, the show where we talk everything Pokemon, from the video game to the trading card game to everything in between. I don't know if there's anything actually in between. I think there's like that weird crossover that we had that one time. That was the video game about playing the trading card game. And
I love that game.
That game wasn't bad.
It was fun.
So they did make a sequel.
It didn't come in the U.S.
It did not come to the U.S., but there was a sequel to that game, and it was like a true sequel. It was a true sequel. It was like a gold silver type deal, where it was like, here's the world a couple years later. It wasn't like how we get sequels now, where it's just like, here's a new region. Here's
the same region, slightly different. That's what they do now. True sequels. We love true sequels.
And so it was great. It was a great concept that we never got fully executed, which is sad.
Well, I guess because TCGO exists, they're like, people have to invest in that.
So like, yeah, but TCGO didn't exist for like 10 years or 10, 15 years after that. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think when TCGO started. TCGO has been around for a while though.
It has, but it's had different iterations. Also.
It has had different iterations. I will agree with that. I mean, but it's been.
I remember it used to be a whole different thing.
It was around in Gen 5, and I only remember this because my account still has like a lot of like the early Gen 5 stuff that you got for free for playing. And so I do remember I have that, and so like I think that's when it was really starting to take off, was around the Gen 5 time. So that would be 2011. That'd be around 2011. So yeah, I mean that's still a lot of years. That's 8 years for TCGO.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Good for TCGO.
Yeah. Although its existence also prevents us from getting another video game, trading card game.
So I don't entirely disagree with that though, because like, I don't play the trading card game as religiously as I used to. I used to play a lot a few years ago, and I never went and competed or anything, but I like playing, I would say heavily casually. I don't know how to explain where I was. I played a lot. I had a good time with it, but I didn't want to compete because honestly, I just don't like competing.
Also, trading card games in real life are not cute a lot of the time.
That is probably absolutely true.
For so many reasons.
We're
not going to get into them here.
There's like stupid drama that happens like all over the place. And like I think the biggest problem with a lot of trading card games, and like I'm going to put problem in quotes because it can also be a plus, is that most trading card games have like a very local community where everybody knows everybody essentially in that local community. And sometimes that's good because especially for people who are trying to find a place and have a community to be a part of, I think that's a really good thing. But at the same time, I think it can also start a lot of drama in those communities. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I've been very, I'm keen to avoid that. And I don't.
Plus, I just don't like shuffling, and I don't have to do that on.
That's true. PTCGO is much better at shuffling, and honestly,
I could just not shuffle.
My favorite experiences playing any kind of trading card game has honestly been PTCGO and the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist game.
It's so good. That's a Pokemon game we can support.
It's not a Pokemon game, but I do. For $40, I think it's a decent pickup on Switch. I do recommend it. If give me money, Nintendo. I advertised your game. It's better than the PC version. I own both versions, which is really depressing.
Well, the Switch version came out substantially later. So it did. It did.
I think I got it before the Switch version came out because the Switch version came out just in the US, not until
fairly
like August.
Recently, yeah.
It was like August. And I remember being hyped for it because like I could have gone to the Japanese eShop and downloaded it for like 3 months earlier, but I did purchase the Legacy of the Duelist like 2 years prior on PC, along with some of the DLC. But there is new stuff in it. Like even outside of the DLC you could buy on PC. It's all there. And that's it for the Pokemon trading card roundtable we just had about Legacy of the Duelist.
It's a Pokemon game now.
Welcome to Yuckle.
Trust us.
Welcome to Yuckle. But yeah, how has everything been going? I know Sublime, you haven't gotten the game yet.
Well, I haven't gotten this new indie game that came out, or whatever it's called, but I have been playing what I now refer to as the main Pokemon series game, Pokemon Go. It has more Pokemon in it now, so I refer to it as the main game, and Sword and Shield are these side games now. Had a great community day.
Oh,
lovely.
Yeah. That's actually good. That's pretty good.
Here's the nice thing. Let me tell y'all. If you play Pokemon Go, you really have to play it with someone else.
You really do.
You really do. Let me tell you, because what we do every community day, we don't send anything home until we've caught them all. Then we trade all of our rejects, basically, until we get some lucky ones. So I got a 100 IV lucky Infernape. So good for me. Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, nice.
That's really cool.
That's what you do. You just, it's so much better if you do it with someone.
I can see that.
I get lucky Pokemon every community.
I just always
trade that it ends up happening.
I just see Pokemon Go for the most part as something that I do with my wife anyway.
Yeah, it is. It's very that.
Because like Pokemon's like the one place where like our interests like heavily overlap. Obviously, like I'm into Pokemon because
but like
Pokemon
if you're
podcast.
into like the video games and such, your partner might not necessarily.
Yeah, well, she's like more she's definitely more casual when it comes to the video games and stuff like that. But but like Pokemon is like that one place where we overlap like really well because she's super into anime and I'm like hand me the anime starter pack, please. Because like I'm okay with like things like Soul Eater. And like Attack on Titan, like, you know, name an anime and like anybody can pick out which anime it is. And it's like, yeah, that's the one I like. But then you get into like the weird stuff and it's just like, okay, not a fan. And so like, yeah, give me anime starter pack, but she's like super into like the rest of it. Like we have a Funimation subscription and she really enjoys that Funimation subscription, watches a lot of weird stuff. I don't think I've watched anything on there. I've watched One Piece. I tried to watch One Piece and it's not that I don't enjoy it. It's just too long, right?
Yeah.
Some
of those are just too long and I'm like, listen, if it's over a certain length of episodes, I just can't commit to that.
Like I wanted to because it's a good story. It's a good story, but the problem, I think they're like 500 or 800 episodes in. And
oh no.
It's like,
no.
It's like, oh, I want to, but that's so many episodes.
You know what the perfect length is? Like 50 to 60.
50 to 60. I don't.
It's enough time to tell a good story.
I don't mind going to like animes that are like 100 and some episodes.
But it
like,
can't be that much longer.
It can't, like, if we're talking like more than 200, I think that's where I go, this is hard. One Piece was different because I wanted to. It was a good story. I wanted to. And it just didn't happen. It was sad.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about One Piece is they mess around with a lot of anime tropes. Like, they're doing them because they're shonen. But they also, like, mess around with a lot of that stuff as well.
You're right.
So I really like that kind of comedy that they throw in there.
You're absolutely right. So what about you, Basket? What you been up to? I know you've been playing that game.
I have, yeah.
Which version did you which version and who is your starter? I know you said this once before last week.
I got Sword and my starter was Sobble.
That's what I'm gonna do. High five.
Yeah.
Virtual high five.
I got Shield and I started Sobble.
Nice.
High five.
So the only thing to note, and this will tie a little bit into the topic today, is that Shield has all of the better Pokemon. Like almost all of the better Pokemon. For competitive use, the answer is yes.
For competitive.
Yes. For competitive Pokemon.
I mean, like, you can trade anyway, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
you can. They're just all better.
I like the fairy type more, so that's why I sided with Sword when I'm gonna get it.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, I finished up the game this week. I have some like slightly different opinions of the game than when I talked about it earlier this week. I think the episode came out on Tuesday. I didn't mean for it to sound that negative. It was just Sigma and I, like, we were in the part of the game where I think most of the problems are.
I didn't think it came off that negative. You still said lots of nice things.
Yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of things to like about this game. I think just that region of the story though, like that was definitely really where it didn't shine. In my opinion.
Which part were you at?
We were in the middle part, so we were all the way up to 8th badge.
Okay.
And so I think when you get to I think after you beat 4th gym, it kind of like the cracks start to show a little bit, which is unfortunate.
Now I've heard something. I don't know if you can confirm this for me. It seems to be a rumor.
It probably
that there is a person named Leon, and that he is undefeated, and that he is a champion, and that he uses a Charizard. Can you confirm or deny these
this is
rumors?
He's no longer undefeated in my game. He's no longer undefeated in my game. But yeah.
I heard the game doesn't tell you that, and then it just springs it on you.
Yeah.
No?
It has trouble. But on that note, there's some cool news to talk about. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things that happened this week. So let's go ahead and kick it on over to the news. So let's cue that epic music.
Live from the Lavender Town Radio Tower. This just in.
And welcome to the news. So in the news, let's break it down. There's a lot that's going on this week. First of all, we got the new Community Day announcement for December, which is actually really exciting.
Very that.
Because if you are a Pokemon Go player and you're like, man, I missed one of the Community Days this year, fear not, because they've got you, even if you missed one of them last year as well.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's going to be a whole weekend thing again, like they did last year. These spawns and these raids are going to take place from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time each day. And you can get, and so they split up the year into like the first half and the second half. And one day you're going to have more prominent spawns of like the first half of the year, and on Sunday you'll have a more prominent number of spawns for the second half.
Like they all have increased spawns, but some of them are even more increased.
Yes.
At different times.
Yes.
So you can spend all weekend catching all of the things.
And then say you missed out on some 2018 Community Days. We're going back a year. There's going to be raids that will incorporate the Pokemon from 2018.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. They did this last year too, and it's always very nice.
They're just knocking it out of the park, I think. Like they
are the main Pokemon game.
God. All right. So yeah, these are great. So on Saturday, Totodile, Swinub, Trico, Torchic, Slackoth, and Bagon have increased spawns. And then on Sunday, Mudkip, Ralts, Trapinch, Turtwig, and Chimchar have increased spawns.
I did miss the Turtwig. And I didn't feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad about it. The only thing I feel bad about is like everything's so off sequence that like we don't get like the full Gen 4 starter package. That's the only, because like Piplup's the only one that I'm missing.
Piplup will get his time for next year. It's fine.
Yeah.
And then it can move on and we can have Snivy right after that.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get Snivy in probably like March.
Yeah.
Something like that. But on top of that, we're also going to be getting Pokemon from raids. Bulbasaur, Charmander, Squirtle, Pikachu, Eevee, Dratini, Chikorita, Cyndaquil, Mareep, Larvitar, and Beldum, which is the list from 2018. Those same Pokemon will also be available in eggs in addition to Trico, Torchic, Slackoth, and Bagon, which is really cool. And then, Flip-Flop on Sunday, which is really cool. So it's a really, really cool event that's going on December 14th and 15th. So it's a little bit later this year too, compared to when they had it in 2018.
But they did make it like all day both days, basically.
Wait, no, it's not all day, actually. I misspoke.
It's like really long.
It's only 3 hours. It's still 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
I think that might be for the extra increased time chances. Yeah, I think it's like 9 hours each day or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. They do really good at this though. I'm very happy with it.
So it's like, oh, you gotta work. It's okay. You can come after your shift. There'll still be some.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for real.
I really do appreciate that. And if you are playing Super Smash Bros. And you want to celebrate the release of Pokemon Sword and Shield, you can go get some new exclusive spirits based on the Galar region. Zacian and Zamazenta, Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble, Morpeko, and Corviknight.
Are there going to be 4-star spirits?
I imagine Zacian and Zamazenta will be 4-star. I don't know what the exact spirits are.
Let's hope.
I'm not exactly sure.
Maybe we're going to have time for those like Scorbunny.
That's
Sobble.
true.
They're going to be like 1 or 2. It's like whatever.
That's true. So other than that, I mean, these are the big news. If you want a Eevee Funko Pop figure, that is happening. Well, I forget what they're called. So if you're into those bobbleheads and you want to collect the Pokemon ones, got to collect them all and give Funko $10. Go get it. I almost did it for the Squirtle one, but I didn't. I was good. I was very good. Other than that, though, I mean, other than the release of Sword and Shield, there hasn't been a lot of news that has been dropping recently. I do want to use this time to just talk about a few PUCL-related items, because we get a lot of new people in with the release of a new game, and so welcome
of new people.
Welcome to all of you new people. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
And then also, we're going to be talking more later about a lot of the new changes in Sword and Shield to just life in general, and how it makes your life even more difficult. But more difficult and easier. It does both. It does both, and you'll understand why. Only one thing really makes your life more difficult. And so that's really cool. We're going to talk about that. But thank you to everybody who's listening to the show. Thank you for those of you who are new. And I do want to talk about for a minute, because Patreon right now, on our patreon.com/PuclPodcast. If you join at the $5 tier or higher, we are doing giveaways. The Patreon itself is going to be seeing some changes here in the next few weeks because of the way Sword and Shield work. It's really going to affect how we can do giveaways and stuff like that compared to Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. And so we are going to shift it to probably only one giveaway a month, but we're going to incorporate more raid nights at the $5 and $10 tiers. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And this month we're going to be doing 6 IV Dittos, and that's going to be happening this week. I'm probably already going to start this weekend. For those of you who are already in the Patreon chat, you guys have already seen this, and we've already made an announcement on Discord. But if you want to know more about that, you can go over to patreon.com and try to pick one up. It has to be done manually. You're going to have to be friends with me, and we're going to have to work together, just like a Digidestin. We're going to have to work together on this.
And I would like to add really quick that due to the difficulty of doing this, like, you really got to be paying attention.
Yeah, please pay attention. Please, just for your sake, because we have had people in the past miss things. They don't pay attention to dates, and then they complain. And it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. You've missed the dates. So definitely please go ahead and keep an eye on things. And I hope not to run into too many issues. With that note, though, I think we'll make this a relatively short news segment this week. Very, very, very short this week. Because, I mean, the news is that Sword and Shield came out, right?
Yeah. Spread the news. I think everyone got the memo, but if you didn't, spread the news.
And then Community Day was pretty big. I think Community Day is a pretty big thing this year. But we're gonna kick it on over to PokeQuiz, where we quiz your co-host on their insane Pokemon knowledge. And welcome to Puckle's PokeQuiz, the part of the show where we quiz your co-host on their insane Pokemon knowledge. That means they don't use anything on their servers or whatever. They can go ahead and just use what's in their noggins. Sublime and Basket are going to be operating today as a team to try to answer 5 Pokemon-themed trivia questions submitted by our fans over on our Discord server over at the Trivia channel. So you two can give trivia questions to try to stump the co-host and or help the co-host, because you can see which one's on the next show. And maybe you're just like, Thatch is going to be looking for trivia only 30 minutes before the show starts. Because he's too busy trading Ditto from one Switch to another. We're going to go ahead, though, and we're going to talk some trivia questions. You guys have 5 of them submitted by the Discord, and you can get 7 points because one of them is going to have a bonus point. And if you get all the questions correct without using a hint, you can go ahead and cash that hint in for an additional 7th point. So if you guys are ready, we're going to jump in. This segment, as always, is brought to you by AnimeGravy.com, your one-stop shop for anything anime-related needs. These guys are great. I love them. They're the best. Please go check them out. All right, on that note, though, let's jump right on into it. Our first question What is the... Oh, these are all Swish related, by the way. I apologize in advance.
Wait, hold on. Sublime, do you have your internet up?
I feel like that would be a fair trade-off.
You got Google ready?
I feel like that'd be a fair trade-off in this moment.
Question number 1. What is the only Generation 8 Pokemon line, including regional forms, to have 3 immunities? 3 type immunities.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, man.
Somebody has 3.
Oh, but it's including regional forms.
Including regional forms. So
does that mean only Galarian regional forms, just to be clear?
Yes.
Okay, I was worried it would be something like a Meowth has so many types, it must have 3 immunities.
No, this is just one singular Pokemon. One singular
actually,
Pokemon.
Meowth does have 3 immunities between the 3 forms.
It does.
That's why I was like, well, that has other forms. Alright, let's see. So it's a Gen 8 line with multiple immunities.
It could also be a Galarian form. Just throwing it out
possibly a Galarian form. Okay. Well, Zacian and Zamazenta have at least 2 off the bat. Poison and... Well, Zacian does anyway. Poison and Dragon. What types have multiple immunities? Ghost? It must be a Ghost type, I'm thinking. Or it could be a Ghost type, because Ghosts already have 2. And then if they had a dual type, it would add a 3rd. But Sinisty's Mono Ghost. What other ghosts did we get? Corsola is Mono Ghost. It's not getting a 3rd immunity from an ability, right?
It could be. It totally could be.
Does the ability count towards the number of immunities somehow?
I mean, that would kind of be a hint if I told you that.
Well,
but I'll tell you that it's all typing based.
Okay. I'm just making sure that's not part of like a trick question or something.
It's typing based.
It's hard for me. I haven't played these games yet. What's Runarigus' type? It's ground. It's Runarigus. Because that would add an electric immunity. So it would have normal fighting and electric.
Is it... Wait, did we establish it has to be, like, in Galar?
Yes, it does have to be, like, a Galar new thing, yeah.
It has to be new.
Because I was going to
including regional variants, though. So I think it's the Runarigus, because that's Ghost Ground, right? Is that Ghost Ground?
Well, Aegislash, normal fighting.
Oh, you're right. Although that's not Galar new, though. It's just in Galar. You meant new Pokemon, right?
Yes,
Thatch?
yes, new Pokemon.
Okay.
I think it's Runarigus.
All right, let's do that one.
Runanigris is correct. Yamask is also correct as well.
That line.
Because Yamask also got ground typing.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 1 point for you guys. So far, you're 1 for 1. Number 2, how many Pokemon introduced in Generation 8, including Galarian forms, so same bunch of people, new Pokemon, have the Levitate ability? And I'll give you a plus or minus 1 on this.
Ugh. Nope. I'm out. I don't know that. I do not know that at all. Does Sinisty have that? I don't know. I really don't know. That are new Pokemon that have Levitate. Like, what has Levitate? I don't know anything that has Levitate. Or nothing's coming to mind that has Levitate.
Well, I mean, okay, so Weezing.
Oh, Weezing, that's one. You're right, games. Weezing.
I think Latias has Levitate.
Latias? Wait, what?
This has to be new Pokemon. New Pokemon Basket.
Oh,
just
I'm sorry.
I could list lots of things with Levitate. I thought we were doing this.
It's hard. It's dang it.
Maybe we just say 2 because we thought of 1, and there's a plus or minus 1.
Yeah.
That would count for 1.
We'll say 2.
And could count for
we'll
3
say
if there's
2.
more. Because I don't know. Let's say 2.
Yeah, 2.
2 is within the margin of error. The answer is 1.
Yes.
So it was just Weezing.
It's just Weezing.
Okay. We did good. Okay.
So that is 2 points for you guys.
I feel like I'm playing with blindfolds and I'm doing okay.
So our next question is your Pokedex question, as always. So this is probably going to be a little rough for you because I will say this is a new Pokemon. I will just to narrow it down for you. And this is from P. McKee, and he asks, its Pokemon Sword Pokedex entry reads, though it's able to capture prey by freezing its surroundings, it has trouble eating the prey afterwards because its mouth is on top of its head. Who's that Pokemon?
It sounds like it could be the Darmanitan thing. Where's its head or mouth? I don't know.
I mean,
that one looks really
honestly,
weird.
I ran into one once on my playthrough. I don't remember where its head was, or where its mouth was. And the new Ice Mr. Mime has a normal mouth, I'm pretty sure.
Does Frostmoth have it on its head?
I will say, as a hint, this Pokemon can learn Stone Edge. Yeah, free hint. Because I know you guys are going to read the struggle bus.
This is the struggle bus.
That does not.
I haven't played these games.
It's a water ice type as well.
Oh, okay. Oh. It is the Arctovish. Ugly ass fossil with its head facing backward. That's right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Right? Water, you said water ice, right? Water ice, that's
we can go with that.
Arctovish. Yeah.
I don't understand how Sublime hasn't played the game and yet he's doing
You're welcome.
this, I think.
I do that competitive tough stuff, you know.
Yeah. All right, I think we'll go with that. Yeah, because I don't have anything.
Arctovish is correct.
That thing shouldn't exist.
Yes. So we're gonna follow on to that. We're gonna follow on to that for your multiple choice question. We're gonna tag onto that. So Arctovish is one of the fossil Pokemon you get by combining the two pieces together. And you can get 4 different Pokemon this way. Arctovish being one of them. And we want to know, what are the 4 type combinations that you can get out of the Generation 8 fossils? And we already know water ice.
Okay.
So the other you're going to need to get all 3 for 2 points. You'll get 1 point for another type combination, and then you'll get the second point for the other 2.
Okay, so I was actually looking this up yesterday. So I think it's Dragon Electric,
Water Dragon and Electric Ice.
Water Dragon, Water Ice, and Electric Ice. Yeah.
All of those are correct. You guys are 5 for 4 right now. Now the only thing I don't have is a base stat because I didn't look that up beforehand. So we're gonna get a list.
Make it something that would have the highest for a Gen 8 thing. Yeah. There must be something
we
they
can
added
do
that
something
broke
like
a record,
that,
right?
Yeah. We'll double check here. So this is Generation 8 to present, and we're gonna find something weird. Okay. That's not a good thing. We're not going to do that. There's apparently a Pokemon with like a base stat total of like 1125, and I think it's just a max.
There is. I mean, I know what it is. Yeah, so we can do that.
It has top everything.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that one.
Highest
poison one. HP? Is that the category?
So I want to know what fighting type Pokemon has the highest base special defense.
So I'm gonna guess that it is the shielded Crown of Shields or whatever it's called, Zamazenta, because that's a fighting type and it gets defense boosting stuff. So that's my rationale.
Yeah, let's do that because I have no idea.
Because what are the other fighting types like Phalanx? That's not that special.
Yeah.
Zamazenta?
Like shield form, Zamazenta.
Crown Shield Zamazenta is correct with a base stat of 145 in that slot. So it's doing pretty well.
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Pretty bulky boy right there.
Bulky boy.
Bulky. But that's a perfect run for you guys today. Because even though
not playing Sword and Shield, there you go.
That is a perfect run for you guys today. So that does change up our standings. Let me see if I can.
Basket number 1.
I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's Sublime number 1.
Dang it.
But don't quote me on that until I put it in, because that gives you guys 7 today. Oh wow, Sublime is number 1. It's like Luigi in Mario Party saying, "I'm the winner." But the trivia cycle is not over yet, so
let me just sign up for an episode and we can finish it. Because how close am I?
So in first place we have Sublime with 28 points.
Yeah, let's just put me on a new episode.
And then in second place we have Sigma with 19 points. In third place we have Basket with 17 points. In fourth place we have Seth Vilo with 15 points. In fifth place we have Linian and Whimsicott tied with 13 points. In seventh place we have Scrawn with 9. In eighth place we have Shamu with 8. And in ninth we have Jushiro with 5. So tune in next week for some more Poke Quiz, and it'll be far more structured, because with this week, everything's been stupid hectic. So we are going to go ahead and shift gears on over to the topic. And we have a new iTunes review for you guys this week. This week it is from Ariel Vargas, 93, and it's titled A Fan from Ecuador. This makes my day. Great content. Love the trivia. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you, Ariel. And if you want your iTunes review or whatever review you drop for us to be read on the show, go ahead and review us on whatever platform you listen to us on. We really appreciate it. So on that note, we're going to kick it on over back to the show. And enjoy the topic. Welcome to the topic. Our topic today is going to be essentially tips and tricks. What do you need to get started in Pokemon Sword and Shield? Or just things that you might need to know.
Okay, so Thatch and Basket, y'all have both finished the game, right?
I finished. I don't think Basket has yet.
I have not.
But you're pretty far in, right?
Yeah.
Like, you've gotten... How many badges are you at? Excuse me, I'm so raspy.
I got all the badges. I am just about to... I can't remember if I defeated that one mean lady yet, or if I'm just about to fight her.
Okay.
Oh, no, yeah, I have. I defeated her, and I'm just about to go up against...
Is it the scary fairy lady?
BD.
No.
Ugh. Is BD a woman?
No.
Who? Bede?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is that I thought that was a man.
I've been calling him BD. He is a guy.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it was a girl.
No.
I was like, wait, what?
Oh, sorry. I thought you asked if he was a woman, and I was like, nah.
I did, because I thought you had said that you were having, like, basically some scary lady.
No.
No. So the scary...
And then you said BD.
The scary lady was the, there's this lady who...
Elena.
Yeah.
Elena, right?
Yeah.
Elena, that...
Okay, so, y'all are both real far into the game. I'll probably be picking it up used in, like, the next week or so. What advice would you guys give me for going through it now that you've done it, mostly?
So, I don't know that I give you advice other than tell you... So, like, I know you particularly have been very negative about these games, and I understand why, and where that's coming from.
I mean, like, listen, there are Pokemon games still.
There's still Pokemon. I do want to make that clear because
There's still Pokemon games.
People have given us a lot of crap for being very negative about these things.
I think we've been very positive, and I'm in the minority, actually.
I think that one, these are Pokemon games, and we're all very happy because they're Pokemon games.
I mean, a Pokemon game has a very high floor, is how I would put it. Right, like, maybe we didn't reach the ceiling I personally wanted, but, like, bottom line, a Pokemon game is still fun to play through.
It's still better than a bad game. You know what I mean? Like, it's still better than like a lot of games. It's going to be better than My Little Town Hero. What is it called? Oh my gosh.
Little Town Hero?
Little Town Hero, that's it.
Don't tell Oshawott you said that.
I will tell him that.
I will as well.
I have, on several occasions, told him he's wrong.
Yes, we have.
So, for me, there are some extreme highlights, and they cancel out the lows, in my opinion.
Okay. I absolutely, I can understand that.
So what are the extreme highlights? What should I look forward to most?
Okay, so, the first time you beat a gym, and someone's like, "Oh, that's Basket, the guy who just beat the gym." You're like, yeah, it is. So there's that, a little ego stroking. And then there's also the first time you walk into the stadium and you see like the, we all saw the commercials if, we weren't like Whimsicott and trying to stay away from everything.
I've seen the scene. I watched some of the streams.
And I was kind of like, meh, it's not going to be that big of a deal. And then you go in there and you hear the crowd cheering and like you can customize your character to look very much like you. And I did that.
Oh my gosh, it's very true.
I will say that I'm very impressed with a lot of the character customization.
The character customization is like next level compared to the character customization that
we had before
in previous Pokemon games.
Yeah. Totally.
The only thing this game is lacking, and you heard it here first, folks, is Hawaiian shirts. No Hawaiian shirts in this one. I know it's disappointing to pretty much everybody, but no Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah, I don't really care about that.
I'm just saying, Basket. No Hawaiian shirts. But no, it's actually really good. I think they did a really good job of the world building in this game in terms of at least like in like the lore for the gym system and everything. It's much more fleshed out than like we've ever seen before. Because I know we've straight up had episodes where we've discussed how like the gym system works before, and this time it's pretty clear cut. Like, hey, it's a sports circuit.
It's like this.
And everyone is so hyped on it. It's not like the other Pokemon games where it's like...
That was very much a tribute to, like, British hype for sports.
Yeah.
For, like, soccer. Yeah.
Good for the reason, yeah.
Totally. Like, and...
For the region, yeah.
That alone, like, it makes it feel a lot cooler. Like, I'm a 28-year-old man playing a Pokemon game. And I go in there and it's just like everybody's like, wow, you are so cool. You're doing that? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah. Validation.
No, I absolutely agree with that. I think in terms of just like feel, I think that's done very well in these games.
Definitely.
I think you can go ahead and be like, hey, I am actually a trainer in this. I mean, I said during Sigma and I's review episode back last week that it's a little sad that we don't get those diversions, but what they do have is done very well.
Yeah.
So I really like that. I also really liked, if you're playing the game and you're coming into it from a different perspective, I really enjoyed not having Mega Evolution and Z moves. And just from the playthrough perspective, not from like competitive perspective, I really will miss Megas from a competitive perspective. But
so why did you enjoy not having them? Was it just like a difficulty thing?
I've just missed vanilla battles. Like I didn't realize how much I missed it until I played it. I missed not having to sit through like a Mega Evolution animation and we just keep going. You know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about like there being another form that's going to occur in this Pokemon over here. It felt kind of good. It was kind of a step to basics.
Mm-hmm.
Because Dynamax isn't used that often. It's only used in the gyms.
Yeah. Essentially.
Which I think is done. I think that's probably the proper use of it, is to literally restrict it to gyms and raids. Because if you do any more, it's going to be some overblown mechanic that just doesn't. It's going to be overdone.
Yeah, I would have felt pretty bored of it pretty fast.
Yes.
If it was like you could do it anytime.
They did a good job making it feel special.
Yeah.
I will say that, because they made it feel rewarding, and like when you used it, it was done. I at least felt better about it.
Yeah.
I think, and this will probably be talked about more this week on Battlecast, but for Battlecast, for competitive battling, I think Dynamax is completely broken.
Yeah. I would not say that I'm happy about Mega Evolutions being gone at all, but I am pretty happy about Z-moves being gone.
I think Z-moves can go. They can die.
I don't think anyone cared about that. I don't think anyone was mad about Z-moves being cut.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. You're probably. Well, I think there was like a very small minority of people who were upset about that.
Yeah.
I think Z-moves are very much tied to the Alolan culture,
mm-hmm.
and it's cool for them to stay there. And I think Z-moves are the perfect example of a mechanic, and even Dynamax now. Dynamax and Z-moves are very good examples of mechanics that can stay in their respective regions. Maybe less so with Gigantamax, because I feel like...
isn't there like a ton of lore about it being exclusive to the Galar region?
So Dynamax, yes. But so the problem is... So I'm talking about me personally, not like what the game's lore is about these things. But I feel like if you're going to have a form of a Pokemon, not being able to move that form of that Pokemon forward feels meh. I don't like that.
How do you mean not being able to move it forward? What do you mean?
So like in the next game, let's say there's no Dynamax.
Like,
in the
what's a
next game.
Pokemon that is like specifically good because it has a Gigantamax? I guess is what you're saying.
None of them, honestly.
Okay, well then it won't matter.
That won't matter. But like, I'm not talking about from a competitive sense though. I'm just talking from like, so the way that I enjoy Pokemon, which is the reason that like the Dex cut like really.
The reason you had an issue with the Dex to begin with.
It was because Pokemon's kind of always been about the evergreen content. And this is a step that was a step in the direction to no longer making it evergreen. Maybe Home makes it better.
We'll see.
I will say after playing it, I don't feel as bad because I think the Pokemon games can still be fun, and I think there can still be a community around them.
I mean, there was no doubt they'd be like fun to play through. You know,
I was a little worried though that there was going to be like, especially with a lot of the reviews that came out. Some of them were negative, and I definitely see their merit. I see both sides of the coin to an extent. I don't think it's a 9.3, but
it's not. It's not.
But I can definitely see why people are happy with these games, especially from a casual perspective. Because I mean, from a casual perspective, these are probably fine.
I think it is maybe a 9.3 from a casual perspective.
Maybe. I think maybe. Even then, I still think there's some unpolished places. But
let's give it an 8.5.
Anything from a 7 to 8.5 is a completely reasonable score to give this game.
Yeah. I mean, I would give it an 8.
If we want to go into a competitive perspective, they did do a lot of quality of life updates, which were very nice. And I know Sublime, you know most of these, because like we have the Nature Mints, bottle caps are a thing, and bottle caps aren't actually as bad because everybody was worried because you still have to get the Pokemon to level 100 to be able to activate the bottle cap.
But because of the candy that everyone just has out the wazoo.
Because if you go raid, which is honestly being a member of like a Pokemon community like PUCL is absolutely like perfect for these games.
Because it's nothing but raiding.
For multiple reasons. One, because of raids.
Lots of raiding, yeah.
You can do a lot of raids. You can rack up a lot of candy real fast.
Yeah.
And you can use that just to kind of shove candy down your Pokemon's throats to level them up to 100 and use the bottle cap. Nature mints aren't that hard to get a hold of either, which is really nice. So if you need to swap natures, you can do that pretty easily. I think those are those are the big competitive changes. But in terms of like playing the game and doing a complete dex thing, which a lot of people try to do, and like, complete the dex as part of playing Pokemon, you want to complete the Pokedex.
And a lot of people have very quickly.
And you know why? Because they made it I think they made it more accessible, which only opens up more questions for me.
I've seen a lot of people with completed dexes in the first week.
Well, so it's because if you go into the wild area, which is actually, I think, done, I would say I would rate the wild area itself like 9 out of 10.
The wild area is really cool.
Yeah, because the wild area, like as you progress through the game, you get more and more powerful Pokemon that show up in it, and so you'll end up getting like fully evolved stuff. Yeah. And some of the stuff that like is such a headache to go and evolve to complete decks, like Dusknoir. You can like see a wild Dusknoir and go catch it.
Yeah.
Like I just caught an Excadrill before I caught a Drillbur. You can go catch a Gengar in the wild area. I mean, there's like this huge number of Pokemon that you can go catch in the wild area that are just fully evolved Pokemon.
Yeah, I like as a like Nuzlocke player, I super appreciate the fact that trade evolutions can be found in the wild.
Yes.
Because and not only just as like, playing Nuzlocks a lot, but also the fact of just not having to, it's like, oh, I really want this Pokemon and I want it now because I want to, use it for this gym or whatever. Because I change up my teams all the time when I'm, just doing normal playthroughs and stuff like that. So being able to, grab whatever I want just for fun to see how things work and stuff like that is really, really helpful because there's not always someone who has the time, even in a community like this, not always someone who has the time to be able to help you trade for that. You could spend a couple days maybe waiting for somebody who has a trade evolution they need so you guys can help out.
Now I will argue a negative to kind of go along with that is that GTS is gone.
Yeah.
I am really sad about that. I saw that, so I got a little salty because I've seen a lot of influencers online when that announcement was made or when that was discovered that GTS was gone. They were just like, well, what are you going to do? Trade your level 6 Bulu for an level 85 Zamazenta? And I'm like, okay, so one, that sounds like somebody who's never used the GTS before. Because I did prior to Sword and Shield, like when I played X and Y and when I played Sun and Moon, when I completed the decks in those respective games before Bank came out or Bank compatibility came out for those, I did use the GTS pretty heavily to like help me complete the Pokedex. Granted, I don't think that's as bad now. I really don't. The only thing that is required, like the one thing that's really, really poopy about it is it's really hard to get foreign Pokemon then. Which is really big for people who are doing the Masuda method. Yeah. So I think that's kind of poopy. And then I think it's really rough if you don't have somebody to play Pokemon with. It kind of lessens that connection because the GTS has been around as long as Pokemon's had internet access.
Yeah, I think those people what they were referencing, it had to have been Wonder Trade, right? Like where you
No. You can so the problem with GTS, like the problem in quotes with GTS was that you'd have a lot of unfair trades being asked for. But the reason it did that those always showed up is because GTS was working really, really well. And what would happen is if you put up a reasonable trade, it would just get snatched up right away. And so you'd have these none of the reasonable trades would show up very often because all that's left is all of like the crap at the bottom.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so that was the big thing because like I used GTS plenty of times, and the way you use GTS in the past, or the way you should, is you put up your trade and you request something and then you get it.
Yeah.
And then you go back and get it because somebody else already did the looking. and you'll get it. So, on that note, I think that's really big. The other thing is that I noticed that I think is more of a fun fact than anything that you might need to know. But for people who are shiny hunting, which is a big thing, it's like every year it's like a bigger and bigger group of people who are shiny hunting because a lot of Twitch streamers do it and they want to go get their shiny
Maybe
Pokemon.
it was getting too easy because they had to make even more rare stuff.
Yeah, so there's even more rare stuff than just shiny Pokemon. So like they're
Like,
just
oh, you have just a regular shiny. I'm not impressed anymore.
So there's two types of shinies now.
It has to be hip to be square now.
Yeah, there's two types of shiny. There's the one type of shiny that we all know and love that will give you nice sparkles when it comes into battle.
That's literally where the word shiny comes from.
Yep. And there's another shiny now that will go ahead and create squares when it comes out. So it is a different type of shiny. It is a 1 out of 16 chance that your shiny
1 out of 16 shinies will be a square shiny.
Be a square shiny. So if you're
really trying to have exclusive stuff, you need to get the square shinies now.
God, I couldn't imagine.
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. But what does like
people like shinies because they're rare, so now there's an even rarer version of it.
So the thing that's become a big deal also is the Poltegeist as well. Like in the similar vein.
Oh, because of the authentic. That was a nice touch. I appreciate it.
So there's two types of Poltegeist. There's authentic and inauthentic Poltegeist. You probably have an inauthentic Poltegeist. But when it Dynamaxes or you look underneath it, you can see whether or not the pot it's in has like the official marking that says it's an authentic pot. Most of them don't have that.
That's so funny.
So there's two types of Poltegeist. So that's also another way they kind of added in. It doesn't matter at all. Like, their stats are exactly the same.
It's arbitrary. I say fake it till you make it. Use your inauthentic Poltegeist.
It's like fake China versus real China.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like imitations.
That's really funny. I like
Isn't that great,
actually.
though? I really appreciate that.
That's cute.
They put a lot of detail into these. Like, I will say that. I also appreciate that a lot of 1% and 2% encounters still exist. I think that is always welcome in a Pokemon game. Just because it helps you, it makes it harder to catch certain Pokemon, and it increases your play time and honestly my enjoyment, from my perspective at least. I also really enjoy playing. I enjoyed in terms of catching. They like purposely made it harder to catch things, and I kind of love it. And they did this in like a soft way. Mm-hmm. And I did mention it during the review, but the way I absolutely love this feature or gameplay decision more than anything, honestly. But they keep you out of Ultra Balls until like, I think after like the 5th gym or something like that.
Oh yeah.
And by then the wild Pokemon are almost level 40 anyway. So you're throwing Great Balls at like level 38 stuff. Uh-huh. And I find that fantastic because that like reduces your capture chance.
So I guess one question I have that I'm thinking about for my game that maybe you can help me with is, would it be better to not play in the wild area until I'm done and then go and have like all of my stuff? Or should I play it as I'm going through?
Yeah, I would do a mixture. It's like a compromise. You have to have like a healthy compromise. So like if you go, there were a lot of complaints, I think mostly from people on Reddit, which you have to take everything they say with a grain of salt because most of them are just salt blocks. And I mean, that's kind of the best way to explain it.
But like, salt is what makes food taste good.
Yeah, but not if you dump the whole container on
That's
it. Like, and so
gotta have access to salt so you can season things.
Yeah, you gotta save some of your salt for later. Like, don't dump it all on the steak. But they complained a lot about over leveling being an issue, and I don't think it was an issue whatsoever, even with the experience share.
Okay, so my understanding is if you're doing a lot of raids, you'll have a lot of candies.
Yes.
And that just blows the balance out of the water.
Yes.
However, you're the one choosing to apply candies to your Pokemon, so that's the compromise, basically.
The only time I did candies was when like I would switch a team member out for something new, and I would use the candies to help bring them up to everybody else.
Yeah. And one of the things, too, I'd like to go over like just quick couple like Nuzlocke sort of rules that I made.
Yeah, no, so I want to know. I'm actually really curious about this because I've heard a couple people talk about doing Nuzlocks, and I want to know how you do a Nuzlocke in Sword and Shield. Okay,
so for me, one, over leveling pretty much happens because you're spending way too much time in the wild zone, the wild area. Because if you just play through the game, then you're really actually, I honestly think they did kind of a good job with the leveling system. You don't really need to train a whole lot. Like, you don't have to grind for a lot of time to make it to the next gym or whatever. Mm-hmm. There are some weird random leaps in levels for some of the gyms. They're not that far, but you really don't have to go out in the grass and just
grind it all. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that doesn't exist.
I don't think you've had to grind in a Pokemon game for a while.
well,
Yeah, I think Sun and Moon was pretty good, I think.
Yeah, like, especially since we had the XP share, like, there's been no need to grind.
X and Y, I think X and Y were a little on the opposite side, because I think it was their first game where they had the XP share brought back in its current format, and I thought they did a really good job of outside of X and Y, they've done a really good job.
They've course corrected since then, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, X and Y, they just kind of over leveled a little bit. Like, I think you could be like 10, 15 levels over leveled by the Elite Four. Yeah. But here I would say the leveling is done very well. Mostly because...
As long as you don't use candy, because you'll break the game with the candy.
But that's your own fault, right?
Yeah.
I think that's your own fault.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to break the game with the candy.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a player decision and not a design decision, because there's no way you can balance that, right? You want to give people rewards for doing raids. And you can't just be like, oh, you don't get rewards because you haven't beaten the game yet.
Yeah, and it's basically one of my rules, like, it's basically your job not to be over-leveled, because it's pretty easy to not do that if you are just doing a straight Nuzlocke.
Mm-hmm.
And then my rules that I, like, made up for raids and the wild area. So the wild area isn't as crazy as I first thought, because I was thinking, I mean, it's pretty crazy, but at first I was thinking that, like, you could catch anything in the wild area besides the giant ones, right? Which I almost had to wipe out because, like, it gave me the warning, but I was like, I mean, it's going to be what, like a couple levels higher than my Pokemon. I could probably take one down and, get an advantage. And then it was like 15 levels higher, and it was like, okay, well, I got to run away now. And I couldn't, so I lost like 3 Pokemon. But the wild area, like, there's a succession in leveling in the different, like, grassy areas and the different, like, regions of the wild area or whatever. So you're not given access to all of this right away unless you want your team wiped. And then, so that's not a huge problem. So I figured that because the levels loosely correlate to, and the different areas loosely correlate to, like, gym levels, I figure, okay, every time I beat a gym, I can go to the wild area and I can catch something in the newer area with the higher level Pokemon that are closer to mine, right? So that's how I did that, so that I didn't go, like, overboard or anything. And I also, it was basically I could pick something from a wild area, or I could try my luck at a raid. The lower level raids are super easy. Like, you do not need help from anybody.
Oh yeah, you don't need friends. I think you really need it for, like, maybe not even 4-star. I think, like, 5-star raids are the ones that require friends, and that's about it.
Yeah, I have not had any problem with any 4-star raid. I have not come across a 5-star, but, like, yeah, no problem.
5-star are typically the ones we have problems with. I mean, I raided on Tuesday with some friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan included. Hi, Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
He's kind of sick today, so I hope he's feeling better.
I hope you feel better, Ryan. Go get some chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, he might still be coming over to play D&D, though. We don't know yet. And so we were raiding together, and they were all pretty early in the game because, I had to kind of, like, blow through the game to get to the point where I could talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they went ahead and they were like, they still had, like, level 20 stuff and everything. And I found a Gigantamax Corviknight, and I'm like, you guys want to try it? And they said, yeah, sure, let's try it. And we got absolutely crushed. Because, like, the only person that could do it was me. And so, like, I do understand that, like, from, I'm gonna put competitive in quotes because this isn't quite competitive, but from the people who are more hardcore like us, like, these raids probably won't be a problem. But if you're playing casually and doing these raids and not trying to farm a raid spawn, I feel like everybody's gonna have a really good time with raids, especially the higher level ones, because it gets more challenging.
Yeah.
So I think that's the takeaway. But I mean, there are plenty of good things about this game. I don't think that there's a lot of there are some bad, but I think there's a lot of good to be had as well.
Yeah, and I did actually. I wiped out. I obviously kept playing afterwards, but I did wipe out. I think it was after the 5th gym or something like that.
That makes sense.
Because basically there's this huge spike in the so there's those cafes, and you can go in and you can, like, challenge them once a day or whatever. Yeah. And I had no idea. I was like, okay, well, the Pokemon around the route that I just went through were around this level, so I was thinking it was going to be no problem. I was just going to go in there and get a free battle. I go there, all of his Pokemon are 10 levels higher than me, and he only has 3, but I was super weak to Fairy at the time. And so I was just like, watching all of my Pokemon die to these stupid, I know people love these things, but, these stupid Alcremie and, Milkrai Pokemon. It was just like, these super cool guys that I traveled with are just decimated by these little, like, ice cream and, like, cake frosting things. And it's just like, well, that's dumb. But yeah, so I would, if you're doing a Nuzlocke, I would stay away from those. Or at least only do the first two. Because I'm pretty sure it was the third time I tried it where it was just like, wow, okay, this is way too much. And they wiped me out. And that was stupid. That was really stupid. I was pretty upset about that. But yeah, otherwise the leveling system is pretty good.
Yeah, I think most of it's pretty good. I think a lot of the complaints that we saw before, first of all, there are a lot of people who dislike the game. I do also say that the 40 hours claim to beat the story isn't like absolutely true. Now, I did play the game a little bit faster than I normally would, but I've also gone through the post-game.
So if you didn't mess with the wild area, because I feel like that's a really big time sink. That's optional.
I did mess with the wild area a little bit on top of that. Because I did spend I spent maybe 2 or 3 hours before I beat the game. Well, no, I've probably spent like 5 hours in the wild area altogether before beating like the champion and everything.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And so my current gameplay number right now, I just checked this because I was curious because I just did all those trades as well. So I spent like an hour and a half doing trades as well. So my current playtime sitting at 25 hours. Like right now.
So you would have to subtract.
So you have to subtract like 7 and a half.
7 or 8-ish hours from that.
Yeah. I would say like 7-ish maybe. Let me double check.
So it took like 18 hours.
But I would say probably if you play at like a normal pace, because like I wasn't playing at like the most normal pace either.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if you played at a normal pace, but you're not spending all your time in the wild area. Like 20 hours?
I would say 20, 25 probably.
Yeah, okay. I think that's fair.
Because there was a point where I stopped like catching every single Pokemon on a route that was happening. So I would throw that out just to be clear. Yeah, but right now I'm at 26 hours. I apologize. 26 and a half hours.
Okay. So around 20 to 25.
I think the 40-hour claim is if you spend a lot of time in wild area.
If you're meandering.
If you meander wild area, yeah.
Which, I mean, that's fine, but, like, let's not act like that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it would be reasonable to expect, if you're just going through the story and everything like that, you're not messing around with anything else. I mean, I would say 20 hours.
Okay.
20 hours.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to explore, so I really
There is a lot to explore. I do agree.
Yeah, I really don't think that that's going to be a typical playthrough.
Is there a lot to explore outside of the wild area?
So not too much outside of the wild area, but the wild area itself has a lot. Like there were places in the wild area that I didn't go to until post game, but that was my fault, not anybody else's.
Yeah.
The game does wait a very long time to get you the bike on water.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I'll be like, why don't I just go through the game and then I'll have all the stuff to enjoy the full wild area. Nothing's going to be.
That's true. So like you don't get the bike to go across the water until after the 6th gym.
Okay, so this is probably because I'm super enjoying this game. This is probably one of my biggest aesthetic gripes, though. The stupid outfit every time you have to get on that bike.
So you can change that. You can change it.
You can change the colors, but you can't change what it looks like.
That is true.
Which is just stupid.
It's PokeRide all over again.
It's a horribly designed. I mean, personally, I think it's dumber than like the PokeRide stuff, because even that, it was like, I don't know. I thought it looked aesthetically better, which I hated it, but I thought it looked aesthetically better than whatever stupid thing they have you go on the bike with. And it's like, I just spent all this money on the super cool haircut and jacket and backpack and shoes and everything like that. And I'm like, dang, I look real sweet. And then it's like, every time I have to get on that bike, it's like, I look like I'm like 3 years old.
I think that's a good place to stop, though. I think there's plenty of good things going on, though. I think that's the takeaway. Like, there's a lot of
Pokemon game, even if it's bad, is still a Pokemon game.
Yes.
It's still, and by that we mean it's fun. I mean, it's still.
And we're not saying it's bad. We're just saying, like, no matter what, it's going to be fun because it's a Pokemon game.
No. Most of the time when we talk about Pokemon games, we're comparing them to each other, and I think that needs to be made clear, because I don't think there's a bad Pokemon game. Like, I'm
sure we could find one if we tried.
Well, I'm not going to say that there's like, because like we used to give Gen 3 a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And I still do. I still do.
I think Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, minus the water, was probably the best remake, in my opinion.
I mean, Heart Gold, Soul Silver were
Heart Gold,
really
Soul Silver
fantastic
beat
too.
that hands down.
They both had fantastic remakes.
I'm a giant fan of being able to Mega Evolve during the storyline. So that was a giant thing for me.
Again, you see this right here? This is called different opinions, which is what other people can have from us about everything. Which is where the truth lies. And on that note, that's where we'll quit it, and we're gonna kick it on over to the Pokemon of the episode after this short break. So we will catch you guys on the flip-flop.
Hey guys, Seth Philo cutting in to tell you about something awesome that I've been absolutely loving. Vite Ramen. If you guys know me, you know I have a borderline noodle addiction, and part of that love has always been a guilty pleasure for ramen. Well, Vite Ramen is ramen, but get this, it's actually good for you. You heard me right. The guys at Vite Ramen have spent years making ramen that's nutritionally complete, and I absolutely adore it. Each bowl has 30 grams of protein, which is more than your average protein shake, 7 grams of fiber, all 27 key vitamins and minerals that you need, and most importantly, tons of awesome flavor. Oh yeah, and did I mention it still only takes 4 minutes to prepare? It's basically still instant ramen. You can head over to viteramen.com and pick up soy sauce chicken, garlic pork, and my favorite, vegan miso flavors, as well as handy utensils and other such stuff. And here is the coolest part. At checkout, enter code PUCL, and you'll get 10% off your entire order. That's PUCL, all caps, for a whopping 10% off. Anyway, I gotta get back to rating, and you've got a show to finish. Catch you guys on the flip-flop.
Episode.
And welcome to the Pokemon of the episode. Our Pokemon of the episode this week is National Dex number... I don't actually know the number. 887, Dragapult, the stealth Pokemon.
Apparently, the Dreepy inside Dragapult's horns eagerly look forward to being launched out at Mach speeds.
So, Dragapult is really cool, and I wanted to cover it today. We don't have a team because the meta's still really not stable at all. And I don't want to give you guys a team that's going to be irrelevant maybe between the time of recording
and when you get the team.
And when you get the team. There might be a difference. So, Dragapult is Ghost Dragon, a typing shared only with Giratina.
But not in Sword and Shield, so we don't gotta worry about that.
That's true.
It's the only Dragon Ghost.
I was talking with Seth about Pokemon typings recently, and he's just like, man, the Ghost Dragon's really good. And he's just like, and this typing's really good. And I'm like, yeah, you realize those were all like exclusive to legendary Pokemon, right? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. I'm like, you think there's a reason for that? And so Dragapult is that Ghost Dragon typing, which not a lot of people are familiar with. And yeah, rightfully so, because that gives him 6 resistances and 2 immunities. So that's nuts in itself. He does have 5 weaknesses: Ghost, Ice, Dragon, Dark, and Fairy.
No quad weaknesses.
No quad weaknesses with this typing, which is
nice.
That's bizarre, honestly, to think about. No quad weaknesses. He takes normal from Flying, Ground, Rock, Steel, and Psychic.
And could you ask for a better stat spread? I don't know that you could.
So he's got the base 600, and man, dude, I don't think anything's wrong with this stat spread. He is a pseudo-legend, obviously.
It's crazy.
And so he's got a base 142 speed, which I think is just nuts in and of itself.
Hello.
That's really fast for any pseudo-legend. And you're just like,
that's the fastest pseudo-legend.
Maybe he goes fast, but he doesn't hit that hard. And you'd be wrong, because he's got a base 120 attack. His special attack's still base 100. And it's like, well, he's got to be a frail boy. Well, I don't know.
Not really.
A base 88 HP isn't terrible.
I mean, it's not bulky, but it's not...
It's not frail, but it's not bulky, exactly. And base 75 for both defense and special defense. Both these are very, very big. We wanted to bring up Dragapult because I think he's on my list of to be banned. Though, granted, I think Aegislash, he's doing all right. And they nerfed him enough.
Enough.
I think they nerfed him enough to the point where he might be balanced, which is kind of exciting because Aegislash was always a fun one.
Aegislash is fun, yeah. Attack stats, the stats got dropped by 10, and then King's Shield only drops the stat by 1 stage instead of 2.
Yes. So it's actually not terrible. He's doing all right. The only thing that we don't get for Dragapult, which I think he could really use, is a good physical ghost-type move. But those don't really exist outside of, like, Shadow Punch, I guess? I mean, he gets Phantom Force, but that's a 2-turn move.
But the issue with that is that it telegraphs.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want that. He does get Dragon Dance, which is kind of weird to see.
That's where it's at. Hello, Dragon Dance.
I'm just like, man, that base 142 is not fast enough.
Let's make sure that there's no choice scarf that you have to deal with.
Yes. So you're just like, oh, man. And on top of that, I think we're going to see...
Its signature move breaks subs, too, which is lovely.
Yeah, it's got Dragon Darts, which is a...
So it hits twice, and it's 50 base power. So that means that chances are you can break a sub with one, and then you'll still get past the other. And if there's not a sub, it's basically a 100 damage base dragon move. I'm
having, like, real flashbacks to Kangaskhan right now. Like, Mega Kangaskhan. I'm having real flashbacks right now.
There's no power-up punch.
There is no power-up punch. That is probably the only good thing. That is the only good thing. No free Swords Dance for clicking that button. But he does... I mean, his move pool is actually pretty broad, too.
It also gets U-turn. So you can
do some pivots.
Slap a band on it and just pivot if you wanted.
And I think he gets... I mean, he doesn't get any good, like, physical fire move, which is upsetting.
Also, crazy discovery. It gets screens. Not that you'd use it for that, but now you know.
Maybe one day you will. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows?
Maybe in the draft league and you're like, ha ha ha. You didn't expect my screens from Dragapult.
Yeah. I'm using Astonish.
Yeah, and I think its move pool is, I mean, I don't have any idea how effective this would be, but I do think that its move pool is wide enough to where it might be fun to mess around with an Assault Vest, sort of. Yeah, because it has like a high enough special defense where it would probably be able to...
I guess it depends on like what people end up using to counter it.
It really depends,
and if that survives, to be determined.
I mean, he does get access to the new Dragon-type move, Breaking Swipe, as well, which is actually really cool. More so for doubles than it is for singles. But it's essentially Intimidate, but a move. And it's a Dragon-type move that just hits everybody on the opposite side of the field.
Oh, nice. So it's like physical Snarl.
It's physical Snarl, yeah. But it's a Dragon-type, so there are immunities to it. So like if there is a Fairy-type, like the Fairy-type won't get hit by it or something. So, I mean, Slurpuff is still in this gen. Keep that in mind.
It's not, I thought.
No, Slurpuff made it. Slurpuff made the cut.
Really? Oh, no, you know what? But Slurpuff lost Belly Drum, I think.
Did it? I mean, just wait until Home comes around.
That's what it was. It lost, like, some of the stuff that made it good. That's what it was.
Just wait. It'll come back. Just wait. Belly Drum Slurpuff isn't dead yet.
Although you won't have to worry about that in VGC, so...
That's true. Though, I don't think there's actually... the one thing we didn't tell you about Sublime, because he used to be a big VGC player, there's no, like, Pentagon. There's no Pentagon, as far as I can tell.
Maybe they will say that you can't use anything with a Pentagon, and that's the new Pentagon. Not having a Pentagon is the new Pentagon. Because you can only use the stuff that's in Galar anyway.
That's true, because I think almost everything has something.
No Pentagon is the new Pentagon. So there was, just in a different way.
You're right. Yeah, I think this is a good Pokemon to look at. The only reason I wanted to highlight it is because like I said, I think it's going to get banned.
Use it while you can.
And use it while you can. We don't know. Like, we're literally in the first week.
The metagame is like such a mess right now that...
I don't think the last time we did the show after the game we had a good handle on the meta whatsoever either. So take everything we say right now with a grain of salt. We'll be good in like a month. We'll understand what's going on in a month.
But for now, go get yourself a Dragapult to play with.
Yeah, we want to highlight some cool Pokemon.
Yeah, it's super fast. My gosh, there's like it outspeeds some Scarfs.
Yeah, oh my gosh. 142, so for reference for those of you who know the raw stats like I do and don't know what the base stats imply, 142 means a max speed of 421, like right on its own. So so for reference, you're just underspeeding things like Mega Sceptile, which don't exist anymore. But that's like the kind of speed tier you're at right now, which is something to think about. That is the one fun thing about this meta, is that with the cut, we do have like a bunch of different speed tiers to think about, which is really fun. It's just something to keep in mind. Base 142 speed, crazy speed stat, doing lots of damage, and Dragon Darts.
And it has Dragon Dance.
And Dragon Dance.
And U-turn. You can do so much with this. So fun.
And it gets double hit too if you want like normal coverage for reasons. I mean, I can see it becoming like a mixed attacker, or even see a lot of people going in.
What'll happen is people will switch in like a physical wall that's weak to Fire Blast, and then you just click that.
I think, I don't know if that's what's going to happen. It's either going to be mixed or they're going to go full special. I don't think it's going to ever be full physical.
Wait, did you just say you don't expect Dragapult to be full physical?
Yeah, I don't expect it to be full physical. No, I don't. Just because of the Pokemon that are in the meta. I mean, we can agree to disagree right now.
Okay, so you think that it's going to use its 100 base special attack?
Because of the way the meta is going to shake down currently.
I mean, it's such a... I guess. I mean, it has Dragon Dance.
I'm thinking of just like Aegislash exists right now, right?
Yeah, Aegislash does exist. And Aegislash is great too. Go use that.
Yeah, but what are you going to hit Aegislash with? You're going to hit it either with like Fire Blast or Shadow Ball or something, right? And I think that's what you're going to want to do. Maybe you run it mixed as well so that you can get like Stab Dragon on the base 120. But I think you're going to want to carry like a Tech Fire Blast or a Tech Shadow Ball as well at the same time. I mean, it does get Psychic Fangs as well, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about, like the physical, but it doesn't have a super. Well, hold on, maybe Is Phantom Force physical?
It's physical, but Phantom Force is a 2-turn move. You have to think.
Phantom Force is the problem.
Yeah, that's the problem.
We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I expect it to be physical with some special. We'll see.
I think that's probably the most likely. You're going to see more mix. You're going to see like
it'll have like a special move.
I agree with you. I think that's the most likely scenario. On that note, though, I think that's where we'll leave it. I don't want to promise you a shiny Dragapult just yet. We are doing Ditto, though, over on Patreon. So go over to patreon.com/PuclPodcast if that's something you're interested in grabbing, a 6IV Japanese Ditto. We are going to kick it on over, though, guys, to the mailbag.
It's mail time! It's time for the mailbag! Send in your emails!
And welcome to the mailbag. The mailbag is the part of the show where we read your listener emails on the show. Last time we asked you guys to write in emails about how you're enjoying Sword and Shield, and we only got 2. I don't know why you guys haven't told us that you're enjoying the games.
They all must be too busy playing them.
That's honestly probably what's happening. I'm not going to lie.
They're all too busy rating. Haven't you seen the chats?
Dude, rating is huge right now. But if you're new to the show, this is where we read listener emails. You can email us at puclpodcast@gmail.com, letting us know your thoughts about anything. Specifically, next week, we want to know what your favorite part of Pokemon Sword and Shield is, or what tip you might give Sublime for starting the game.
What tip you got
he's looking to crowdsource some information here.
Work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. But just go ahead, email us at puclpodcast@gmail.com. We'll give the Green Tauros badge to anybody that we think is wrote a really good email. That's where we go. And you get your name on the Discord turn green. So let's jump into it. Our first email this week is from Michael Price. Sublime wanted to read this one.
Sure, yeah. All right. So, greetings, Puckalonians. Trainer Wolf here, if that's who it is.
He signed it Michael Price, though.
He did. But it said Trainer Wolf in the first line. Here to give my thoughts on Sword and Shield. I'm insanely hyped for these games. Yesterday I picked up the Zacian and Zamazenta Switch Lite for my wife, so we can play together. And I'll be getting up early next Friday to get the Steel Double Pack from Target. I'll be playing Shield since I much prefer Ponyta over Sirfetch'd. And I want to fight Alistair's Ghost-type gym. Which version has you more excited? I'm getting Sword, personally, because I like Fairy types, and it has a Fairy type legendary. So there you go.
I wanted Sword because I wanted one Galarian Farfetch'd, and I wanted... Galarian Farfetch'd was the big thing, because I wanted to tell everybody that it existed.
Also, I love Hatterene, so that's my Psychic Fairy of choice, so I don't need the Ponyta. Hatterene is like my new favorite Pokemon.
There's a lot of Psychic Fairies, honestly.
Love Hatterene.
There's a lot of them in this game.
3. There's 3.
3. That's maybe 1 or 2 more than I need in this.
There's Gardevoir, there's Hatterene, and there's the Rapidash. I do like it because it's like tired of your nonsense, and it will love Hatterene. My favorite Jenny Pokemon is Hatterene. Moving on. It has been insanely hard to avoid leaks, and I found out some things I wish I hadn't, but I think Game Freak is partly to blame for the leaks. Most people don't want to know every single Pokemon in the region, and there are a lot of people like me who would rather explore and discover some of them. Personally, I've never experienced the thrill of finding a new Pokemon in the wild because Sun and Moon were the first Pokemon games I got at launch, and Game Freak revealed 95% of the Alola decks before release. So for me, Sword and Shield are going to be a great adventure of discovery that I've never experienced before. However, Game Freak still, less than a week before launch, has not revealed the starters' evolutions. That is itself enough to get a lot of the people to look at the leaks. If Game Freak released the info we cared about, then a lot more people wouldn't care as much about the leaks, so they wouldn't get as much publicity. I love leaks. I always love leaks.
I think
it's fun to look at all the stats and move pools as soon as we get them. That's why I enjoy it.
I think the problem with the leaks this time wasn't so much that it happened, because I think it needed to happen mostly because they were so tight-lipped. We've talked about it several times on the show.
You should know what your starter is going to turn into. I agree with that.
I think they should have at least shown us the second
That's
stage.
A commitment.
You know what I mean?
To know what your starter is looking like.
They should have at least given us like the mid stages, because that's what they did for X and Y.
Gen 6 gave you the middle. Yeah, they gave you the middle stage.
I think Gen 6 is perfect amount of show and not tell.
It is the Goldilocks of information pre-release.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
You enough.
It was because people complained about Sun and Moon showing you everything, which is a fair complaint.
That was too hot, and this was too cold.
And then they were just like, "Oh, you don't like that?" And then it's just like hard turn to the other side. Like it's just like, "No, we liked what you had before."
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't have to look at the leaks. So it's the best of both worlds. People who want them can get them. People who want to like discover can have that joy of discovery as well. Mm-hmm. Everyone wins.
Yeah, I do this thing where. Because I like to have my own starter. So a lot of times when I'll do Nuzlocke, I'll like pick a poke that I like that's not really that great, and then I'll have it be my
That's kind of what Shamu did.
Mm-hmm.
I loved what he did. He released his Grookey.
He did.
And had 2 Wooloo as his starters instead. And on the stream, I loved it. He put Grookey's face on one of the Wooloo. It was fantastic.
That's so funny.
Because like me and him were joking. It's like, yes, the 3 starters in this game are Wooloo, and Trubbish. Good times. All right, back to this.
To be fair, nobody really... I don't think they were phenomenal this time, but to be fair, they've grown on me.
Monotype is disappointing.
Monotype was disappointing, yes.
For now, having not seen very much of the leaked info, my team is going to be Sobble, Yamper, Dreadnought, Wooloo, and Corviknight. With the 6th depending on how hard it is to reset the game to get multiple starters. I don't know what he means by...
Because he's probably just going to see if he can get another starter.
But like... Oh, well, I guess with him and his wife playing, they could trade him all over.
Yeah, exactly.
Trade him back. Mm-hmm. There you go. Oh, so not that hard, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When Sun and Moon first came out, I wasted around 3 hours with that stupid tutorial, intro, getting to the point where I could trade, then resetting the game and doing it all over again to get the 3 starters. So if Sword and Shield have a long intro, I won't do that again. And I'll probably use Mimikyu for my 6th team member, but if it's like Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon with a 5-minute intro, then I'll have Grookey on my team as a 6th.
That's true.
So what team are you going to use, and how do you feel about the leaks? Hoping Game Freak learns from their mistakes for future games, and the journey continues. P.S. Just in case you read this on the show and I like it, I already have the Green Tauros badge. Thanks for letting us know, Trainer Wolf. I love leaks, as I said. The thing about leaks is no one's forcing you to look at them. I love getting the stat dump. Stat
dumps are kind of fun.
They're fun.
I do appreciate stat dumps.
Yeah, with all the new types and things, it's fun. It's like Christmas for Pokemon.
I do agree with that. So my team, I didn't, throughout the game, I kind of just I swapped in between a lot of stuff. Because, I don't know, they were just like, oh, I want to play with this Pokemon and see what it's like. Because I was really interested in the mechanic of like the split Galarian evolutions.
So the Flapple?
So it's like Meowth and Yamask are the only 2, I guess, that fall under this category. So I was really intrigued by like seeing Meowth evolve into not Persian. Because Meowth doesn't evolve, Galarian Meowth doesn't evolve into Persian, it evolves into Berserker.
Yeah.
And Yamask doesn't evolve into Cofagrigus anymore, it evolves into Ruinigris, or however we want to say it.
Runerigus?
I feel like Scooby-Doo saying that, okay? But that's kind of where we are with that. So I wanted to play, so I played with like Meowth for a couple of gyms, and then I played with something else.
If Meowth didn't look so unkempt, I would like it.
It looks
a Alolan Meowth. It looks messy.
It looks better when you see it in game and you can see the back of the sprite. Because then you go, oh, there's Meowth.
Yeah.
Yeah. One way I saw it described that I thought was really funny was they say that They have 3 Meowths to represent the different classes. Regular Meowth is the middle class, Alolan Meowth is the upper class, and then Galarian Meowth is the proletariat.
Yes, you're not entirely wrong with that assessment. Yes, but yeah, I mean that's I just played around with a lot of stuff though for my team.
For my team, I like to go on not decided. I always use new stuff for a new game. Mm-hmm. So let me be clear, I like using new stuff, and I'm in favor of a national deck, so you can do both.
You can do both. Sublime, you and I are the same person. It's fine.
Yeah, it is. In many ways. I'm just your anger translator.
Honestly, yes.
My endgame team ended up being Noivern, Dragapult, Excadrill, Grimmsnarl.
Scrimnarl is
Grimmsnarl. Love Grimmsnarl. That's true.
Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, I think I've decided on 4 that I'd like to use, and then the other 2 I want to be decided as I play. But I want to be Sobble Squad, and then Corviknight, and then Hatterene. Gotta have Hatterene, and then Grimmsnarl.
Corviknight was a really cool line as well, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because
we should
the
never
birds
have
are
been
just
forced to have a bazillion normal flying. There is no reason they.
It's not normal flying; it's just flying.
Yeah,
it's
exactly,
fantastic.
and that's how it should have been. We don't need a bazillion normal flying.
It was awesome. No, they're just like, hey, we figured it out. They to be fair, in this game, I think they broke a lot of norms on purpose that they were too scared to do previously. The one thing we didn't talk about during the topic,
the national decks. Just kidding.
The one thing we didn't talk about during the topic that I thought was something. I'm typically not happy when they change something that's been consistent for years in the games.
Oh, are you talking about evolution methods? So here for that.
I am all about them getting rid of location-based evolutions.
Evolution methods.
I'm really okay because they got rid of the location-based evolution methods. So now Charjabug evolves with a Thunderstone.
Charjabug,
Leafeon, Glaceon, and Charjabug.
Glaceon.
Those are the 3. Those are the 3.
Get you a stone for it.
I'm so happy with that. I'm so happy with that.
Charjabug isn't gimped to play the game with now.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
That was such a good change, and that is an example of a good change Pokemon.
I want a fire type. I don't know if I want to use the Scorchipede.
It's okay.
Or the Roly-Poly line. I'm torn between those 2.
It's okay.
They're both. You just said they're both okay.
They're both okay.
I mean, I'll probably take one of those. I don't know which one I'll get.
Go with Blipbug.
That was neither of the 2 things he asked about.
No, but he's cool.
Blipbug is cool.
He is, but he's just not my style. He's Shamu's style. Shamu really likes that one.
I really wanted... Is this final evolution, any good with,
I don't know. I haven't looked, honestly.
It's okay. Are we talking about Blipbug?
Yeah, we're talking about Orbeetle.
Orbeetle, that's its name. It's Scolipede, Leavanny stats looking.
Okay.
It's better than a Butterfree. In terms of, stats. But it's not, so.
That's cool. Because, honestly, he is, I really like, Ledian.
It's like Ledian made good. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, so, those are the 4, and then the 2 I'll pick as I go. Wooloo's definitely a strong contender. So, that's my team.
Okay.
When I get it used eventually.
So, thank you to Trainer Wolf for that.
Thank you, Trainer Wolf.
We're going to go on over to, I don't know if he's new, but, we're going to go over to Andrew, and Basket, you've got this one.
Hello, Puckle Crew. It's Andrew from NYC. So I just completed Pokemon Sword, even the drawn-out ending. I am now ready to begin building my competition team, but I am unsure where to start. We all are, man. We all.
Nobody knows where to start even now.
Just jump in.
Yeah, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. I believe I need a perfect IV Ditto, so the question is, how exactly do I get one?
Hey, Thatch, how can they get a perfect IV Ditto, for anyone wondering?
They can go to patreon.com and go to the $5 tier. We've got them over there. It's a good time. But I think his problem is, if you keep reading, I'll explain. Basket.
I caught a Ditto with 2 perfect IVs, but I do not think I will ever catch a perfect one. So do I get this Ditto to level 100, then use a golden bottle cap on it? Also, I feel a lot of pressure to catch all the G-Max Pokemon in the wild area, because they are limited on time.
Okay, time out. We're gonna fix a lot of misconceptions.
Let's break down the knowledge, because there are some.
There's a lot of bad misconceptions here. So, 1, you caught a Ditto with 2 IVs. Those are the only IVs that'll transfer. Bottle caps are kind of superficial and just stick on top of the Pokemon. They won't transfer with breeding. So 6 IV Dittos, if you've heard about them, none of them are legitimate. Or not, I wouldn't say legitimate.
In case someone was wondering.
Yeah, they are all hacked into the game via PK hex or something of that sort. So if you have a 6 IV Ditto, it's probably not like, oh, I caught this in the wild.
If you've ever had a 6 IV Ditto.
If you've ever had a 6 IV Ditto in any game,
From anywhere.
that is the case. Because somebody was arguing with me about it. I forget where it was, and I'm just like, not here. This was back in Gen 7, and they're just like, well, why can't we get not hacked 6 IV Dittos? And I say, you tell me what the chances are of that. And they say, well, I can guarantee 4 IVs or 31. I go, okay, so you still need 2 IVs to be 31. So you have to go 1 over 32 times 1 over 32. Do that math and get back to me. And it turns out to be like a 1 in like 7,000 chance or something like that. So, or maybe not just that, but it's pretty hard to get what you want.
Yeah.
And that's very difficult to get. So it's not easy to get a captured in game Ditto. So that's where they come from. Next is, so that clears up 2 of them. The other one is the Gmax Pokemon in the wild area being limited on time. They are not limited on time. I want to make that clear. What Nintendo said when they were making Gigantamax, Corviknight, Dreadnought, and Butterfree more common was that they were only making them more common in the wild area. So they buffed like the rate that they show up. They will always be there regardless. There's no pressure to like run out and get it. It's just easier to find them. So that is Thatch clearing up misconceptions done.
Yeah, and you can always change the time on your system.
Yeah, that's true. But moving on, keep going, Basket.
All right, where was I? My fear is once I decide on my competitive team, I'm going to have to track down Gigantamax Pokemon. I missed in their early weeks. Also, I really like Toxtricity. I have such a hard time with that Pokemon.
It's so hard to say right now.
There's a bunch of new ones. It's going to take us all.
We're all going to have a hard time. Like, I still can't say Runerigrus.
It's fine.
Yeah.
How do we say that? Is it Runerigus, Runigrigus? What's going on?
I don't know how to say it yet.
Let's wait for the anime to confuse us further.
Yeah. I think this typing is super interesting, and I hope I can find a team that he fits on. I would love to have Weavile and Toxtricity on a team, and anything else to help round out the team and support these 2. I honestly don't even know if they are in the same tier. Geez, the more I think about it, the more work making a competitive team seems. Please, Puckle Crew, help a willing competitive noob get some words of wisdom from the innately brilliant Puckle Masters.
I think we're going to let him down just a little bit, because he's worrying if they're in the same tier, and the answer is everything's in the same tier.
But will they be in the same tier in the end? That's, I guess, what he's asking.
Even in the end, though, like, so I'm a big proponent, always and forever will be, that no matter what tier a Pokemon's in, as long as it's not banned from that tier, that Pokemon's in that tier. And you can consider that Pokemon for
That's
use.
true. You can use anything in OU.
Because I think
that doesn't mean it's viable, but you can use it.
You can use it, but I think the biggest quote unquote success stories in this type of deal is Slowbro. If you look at the Gen 7 like movement of Slowbro from tier to tier, throughout Gen 7, Slowbro bounced more than once from NU to OU.
To OU.
Yeah.
He's bounced more than once from those 2 tiers because of just the way the cycle of the meta worked. He would just get knocked down after a little while and then he'd come back up to counter something. And so that's just something to think about. Like, you can be ahead of the meta and do something like that. If you just think about using certain Pokemon, you go, oh, I'm building this team. And you know what? This Pokemon's the only one that can fit there. And you try that. And like I say, with most competitive, if you're getting into competitive, you just jump in and you have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're all going to be competitive noobs, especially with this meta. So we're all just going to jump in and try to figure out what's going on. But go finish it off, Basket.
Also, I did look at some of the spoilers because I wanted to be confident about my starter pick, Sobble, and I'm very happy with what he turned into. But I tried to summon my inner Whimsicott and avoid most spoilers. With that said, the first time I saw Phalanx, I was honestly shocked and can't believe this Wiggler-looking thing made the cut. I want Phalanx to have an evolution.
I don't. I definitely don't.
Phalanx, I don't think needs an evolution. Phalanx is actually pretty good. Like, his stats are decent.
Not with no retreat. I do not need something with no retreat getting an evolution.
He has no retreat.
No. I'm talking about like aesthetically.
I'm sure it'd be fun to see aesthetically, but that is not something I want to exist.
If it happens, all I want them to... the only difference between Phalanx and Phalanx Evolution is it needs to be all of the pieces of Phalanx standing on each other instead of following each other.
That'd be cool.
That's ridiculous. I would be so...
So you know what? Why don't we just get a Phalanx form in the next generation that does that?
Yes, there we go.
There you go.
In like 7 gens, we'll get some kind of regional variant of Phalanx. Because these Phalanx are confused, they stand on each other instead of follow. That's exactly it. But on that note, though, I think that's it for the emails this week. There's nothing new from that. But if you want to email us next week, it's at puclpodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what your favorite part of the game is and what tip you'd give Sublime.
What tips you got for me?
Yeah, let Sublime know.
I have access to the email.
He does have access to the email. Sometimes he'll tell me about it before I'll know about it. And that's fair. I mean, I don't mind at all. So that is it. If you want to keep up with Puckle throughout the week, you can go check out our Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. We really appreciate you following us on those platforms because we do use them to reach out. We are going to be holding more Twitter contests in the near future. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We got a couple of really cool promotions going on very soon. On top of that, if you want to support the show and watch more content, you can go over to PUCL Plus, where we've got a weekly show. And if you want to talk about competitive, Seth Vilo and gang are going to be talking competitive this Thursday, which I know is Thanksgiving, so I apologize in advance, but it's a podcast, so it'll be there the next day.
Listen, when your family's fighting, it'll give you something.
Yeah, we're the better family anyway, right?
If you're not into the drama.
You have the Puckle family, and we've got the Puckle family, so have Thanksgiving with the Puckle family, and listen to Battlecast on Thursday. It's just because I don't like moving things around, and it's too much work. So go ahead and listen to that. Send in your emails, though, earlier instead of later, because we'll be recording the episode for the week after Thanksgiving before Thanksgiving. So the earlier you can record that show, the more appreciated it will be.
Also, get your emails in real quick. So,
It'll be very appreciated. But on top of that, if you want to watch us on YouTube, we have a lot of cool content on YouTube. We're trying to figure out how we're going to do Swish content there as well. I've got a couple series in the fires. We'll see how that goes. Plan for that. If not, you can at least catch the Nuzlocke, which should be coming back relatively soon. And
subscribe to our Twitch, where we have lots of fun things like us playing D&D like we did last night.
We did play D&D, and it was a good time. And it's a great way to talk to the host and see what everybody's like, because we are all friends outside of this podcast. You hear an hour and a half of us each week, but we talk to each other far more often. And so we had a good time playing D&D. We also have a bunch of Swish content going up there as well. We have 5 people streaming Swish. It's amazing. And on top of that, we also have, oh my gosh, where do we usually go? If you want to support the show monetarily, a couple ways you can do it. One, you could go to Twitch and you can subscribe with a Twitch Prime membership, or even just subscribe if you want. But a couple of places that might be better. One, you can go over to TeePublic, support the show, get some cool merch at the same time. We'd really appreciate that. And then, of course, you could always go over to our Patreon at patreon.com/PucklePodcast. Get cool things like shiny Pokemon, 6IV Dittos, Puckle trading cards. We did badges earlier this year. The badges will probably make another round sometime in the beginning of 2020, because I do want to try to get us a full set of 10. I think that'd be really cool. Have a full set of 10.
That would be cool.
Yeah, man, I want that real bad. So we'll be talking about that here in the near future. And so I guess that's it, though. That's what we typically say at the end of the show.
Yeah.
So here in the Lavender Town Radio Tower, I'm Trainer Thatch.
I remain Sublime.
And I'm Basket.
And it's closing time.
It's closing time in Lavender Town. Time to say our goodbyes. It's closing time. Farewell, my friends. I'll catch you on the flip side.
As always, we here at PUCL would like to thank our patrons for helping us make everything possible, and we've got a bunch of new guys to welcome to the family, so let's just go blow through this list, hopefully as fast as I can. But thank you to Liger, Viger, duly noted, C.R. Perkins, Rob, Josh, Big Chonk, Keegan, Ilaria, Sean, Michael, Paul, Dexio, Christian, Miguel, Apollo, Corey, Rotted Mushroom, Titan Killer, Lane, Lord Corbinick, Pikello, Ryan, John, Wade, Marcus, King Kavik, and Harmonia, Alolan Durgs, Tank, Sheldon, Claude9, Bodtech, Swapratata, Michael, Calvin, Jonathan, Chris, Farber Fox, Colt, Peach, Jesse, Brandon, iStarly TV, Christopher Runt, Voltaire, Harvey, Merlander, Fitz, Super Nerd Fox, Joshua, Zane, P. McGee, The Golden Klefki, The British Gent, Brian DeWolf, Trevor Booth, TJ Van Troll, Doc Knox, Dennis, Echo, Jonathan, Disco, Taylor, A Legionary, Maxi, Shambles, Justin, Tim, Andrew, Old Man Tup, David, Chris, Louise, Justin, Southlock, Zach, Sammy, Graham, Greg, Alec, Christian, Yegler, Mikey, Kevin, Josh, Darkflame 3, Halfful Review, Sparky, Coop, Jordan, Hute Q, Shira, Zarni, Smacky the Frog, Ironcaster, Kevin, Orange Avenger, Sarah, Steve, Anime Gravy, Hazelnut, Dylan, Joseph, Travy, Cordell, Julie, and Alex. We did it, fam. We did it. On that note, get ready. We're going to start planning some raid nights with you guys and have some fun with you at the $5 tier and higher. We are doing that 6IV giveaway. Pay attention to patreon.com for updates on that. And I look forward to hanging out with you guys in the future. So we will catch you on the flip-flop.